what makes you feel that I cannot lead this position? Uh, Speak out. I want to hear from you that what is it that you think that men can do and women cannot do?
Welcome to Women Who Lead. I'm your host, Jess Carr, business leader, mother, and breadwinner in my family. Join me as I interview interesting and remarkable women from around the world on what it takes to be successful in career and life. My guest today is Shikha Shah, a senior director with Turner Townsend in India. The construction industry in India has very few women and even fewer in senior leadership positions. It's an honour to speak with Shikha today on her experience of blazing a path in a male-dominated industry. From the beginning, she was actively discouraged to pursue a career in architecture and project management. She's also had to walk 11 flights of stairs and over a kilometre just to use the washroom, not to mention the various personal safety situations she has had to navigate over her career of late nights on site. As an award-winning leader, Shikha has proved that nothing is impossible and has set an example for not just the other women, but for everyone in the industry. Hi, Shikha, and welcome to the show. It's so good to have you here. I'm really interested in diving into this conversation. How are you?
Hi, Jess. I am very fine and really honored to be here. Thank you so much for picking me for your podcast and looking forward to a great conversation today.
Yeah, me too. Like, it's taken us a couple of times of rescheduling, but we've got ourselves here, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So this story today and what you're going to share with us, like you're in India, you're a woman in a senior leadership position, in a country where there's lots of cultural norms around what women should and shouldn't do, and I'm sure that that's changing. And also being in a male-dominated industry for quite a long time, most of your career, all of your career. And so I'm really looking to dive into how you've navigated that and what are some of the challenges that you've actually come up across during your time.
Yeah. Uh, so to start with, like maybe a brief introduction for myself, for the audience. As you already mentioned, working as a director with Turner Townsend, I think it's been almost close to 18 plus years that I have spent in this industry, and I have grown and gained many experiences here. So construction is the second largest industry in India in terms of GDP as well as the labor force that it occupies. And presently, the skilled and unskilled both labors are increasing with 7% every year. With over 35 million people engaged in this industry, there's hardly like 30% of women in there. And that too, in the senior leadership position, there are hardly like about 2%.
Yeah, it's a really small number, isn't it?
Exactly. And while there is so much potential in this industry that you have so many opportunities, not only in India, I think across the globe, but the numbers are not very different even in other regions as well. So, yeah, I think even when I back during my professional, when I was choosing a profession and what to do in my higher education studies, when I wanted to pick up architecture as my career, many of the family friends, they wanted to just push back saying, do you really want to do this? It's not like really a very female friendly industry. Why do you want to choose this? I always had a very creative side and wanted to do something in the designership. And my father, especially, uh, supported me from the back, and he said, "Go ahead. Don't listen to what others are saying. You can do it what you want to."
Do you think you would have gone into it without his his support behind you?
No.
So making sure that you've got someone around you that's actually supporting you and got you back when you're, thinking of doing something that's a little bit outside of the norm is really important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to my like utter surprise that when I reached into the college, uh, I think our batch was changing the norms. in all the previous batches, there would be like about 20 men and 4 or 5 women, and we changed it. We were 20 women in our batch and only 5 men.
So you completely flipped it on its head.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that gave us more confidence. Okay. So we are there to change the industry, change this world, change how this profession is perceived to be looked at. And during my like even during my professional studies, even above architecture, I was studying a course called project management as an elective, and I really loved that as well. So after pursuing few years in the design, then I did my master's in project management and actually moved into project management so that I could manage the entire project from start till the end and help the clients deliver them for on the ground. So not just the design, but entirely into it.
So you said that in your architecture group there were, that you'd flipped the ratio of women to men. But what about when you went into the project management? Was it still in the more traditional, more men than women?
Oh, absolutely. For 4, 5 years in my organization, I was the only woman in my office.
Oh, wow. That must have been really, really interesting. So, what was it like going out on site? What was your kind of like daily life like?
So I had to travel like easily about 80 kilometers one side to reach a site, and then the full days on construction site. The first site I remember, I it was on the 11th and 12th floor in a multi-story building. There were no lifts, all men around, and I had to, like you already mentioned, that I had to walk down about 11 stories to use a washroom, travel another kilometer. It was hard. But I had my passion that I want to develop my career here. This is something which cannot take me back, and I have to do it. I think one part which kept me going was that, yes, though I felt that it was all men around, but the professional, my colleagues, they would take extra care of me. Like they would provide that support and like a security around you. So I never felt that the site is not safe and secure for me, because I did have people who would give extra care and comfort, and yeah.
Do you think that was the norm in the industry? That you would be taken care of, or is that because you were just working with a particularly good group of people?
um I can't say that, but I have experienced through my like over this experience that I've seen that it's hard for the group of people to accept the women in their group in this industry, first of all. But when you show that you have the knowledge, you have the skill set, and you can like stand behind them, then they give an extra respect for a women in their group as well.
Yeah, a working together relationship.
Yes, so you have to flip that over by giving them the confidence that just because you're a woman, you're no far behind. You still carry the knowledge and you have the skill set, and you have to earn that respect and trust. And I think one of my client once said that having a woman in the group brings that discipline and culture among the men. They behave better when there is a woman around.
So they're not so crass and watching their behavior a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, there's lots and lots of studies about how having the certain ratios of male and female people in leadership teams and in running businesses, etc. Is really important. I wonder if that's because of the norms of behaviors, I guess, that may come out if it's all one sex or the other. So
Yeah, probably.
So you talked to me earlier before we got on about how having hands-on field knowledge is so valuable. So can you just talk a little bit about how those early years of going on site in your career has made you a better leader today?
Yeah, suggest I think our society associates construction with terms like physical strength, toughness, rough outdoor dust, and consider that this is not something which women can handle. They are too fragile for all of this. But I think unless you break that barrier, within your own mind, you cannot give that perception back to the society. It's very important that if you want to develop your career here in this construction industry, you have to get your hands and shoes dirty. You have to have that knowledge right from the basics, standing on the side, understanding how this industry works. And then you can move on to the more senior position or different roles. At this time where I am standing now, there are various roles that this industry provides where you don't really have to be on the site always. You have roles in planning, cost management, audits, reviews, lots of them, lots of opportunities for women. But before you get into something which is more like a desk job, better have that hands-on knowledge and your skills like polished by working on the sites, on the ground. Unless you have that core developed knowledge, you will never get that trust and confidence within yourself as well before expecting that from others.
So it's really building, really solid foundations, if you like to use a bit of an analogy, in your career to actually go and stand on the solid foundations of the actual physical site. No, I totally can resonate with that. I'm interested to also hear during those early years when you were spending a lot of time on site, I can imagine that the hours were quite long. And as you said, you had to travel quite far to go to site. So what were some of the ways that you, took care of yourself and made sure that you were safe, made sure that you were well rested, during those long commutes?
Yeah, so Jessica, I was at a very junior position. It wasn't that I was earning a lot, but I made a decision to invest in a driver and a car for myself because I knew these are the foundation years. I have to work hard. Nothing can stop me here. So making an investment was a choice. That this is something I need physically as well, so that yeah, I can rest in the commute, and even if there are late hours, I have a safe travel mode. So that's one choice that I made.
Yeah, and I can imagine that it may not be something that is maybe apparent to everybody to actually do when you're in that position. Because as you said, you weren't, you were in a junior position. You weren't, you didn't have a big salary to be able to fork out on that. But that was something that was important to you to be able to support not only doing good work, but actually existing as a human being, and not being completely exhausted, and also set your safety, because if you've spent all day on site and then you've got to drive a long way to go back home quite late at night, then, that in itself provides a pretty, could be potentially dangerous situation if you're not well rested.
Yeah. And I keep giving this example to all my female colleagues that girls, you cannot create barriers around you. You have to find solutions to what can work best for you if you want to go for them. Maybe in this career or any other. But yeah, you have to if you want to keep going, you have to find solution to your challenges.
Talking about different challenges, can you, do you have a story to share about, some challenge that you may have experienced during your career that, was specifically about you being a female in a male-dominated industry?
Yeah, so during my early years, I would say, when I had moved on to become a senior project manager, I was made a project lead for a big project in Delhi NCR region, and the client reached out to my management and they said that we would prefer a male lead uh, rather than a female lead. And so it was being discussed internally in our organization, and went back to my boss and asked him that why don't you give me a chance, and I would like to speak to this client one-on-one and have a conversation.
That's incredible. What were you feeling at the time when the client actually reached out to your boss and then you heard that they were asking for a male lead instead of a female lead? Like, how did that make you feel?
I mean, there were mixed feelings. Definitely, there was a lot of anger and frustration as well. That when will this industry grow up? When will we come out of these perceptions that? And I was like, I have grown out far. I carry all the knowledge. I have to break this. I need to break this back. And I actually went ahead, had a conversation with my client, gave him that confidence. I heard from him that what makes you feel that I cannot lead this position? Uh, Speak out. I want to hear from you that what is it that you think that men can do and women cannot do. I gave him my examples of how I have traveled and led the previous projects, and I have never taken a back from my responsibilities. Being a mother, being a wife, I've been able to handle everything very passionately and with equal determination. And I actually told him that, why don't you give me a chance? Let us start this project. And if you think it's not working out, I will go back and I'll ask my management to give you a replacement. But you cannot take this opportunity away from me. And I want to prove to you that women are no less than men. And I think as a planner, as a managers, we are like naturally born like a management uh, planner. So I can assure that we can do much better for you. And I think with this conversation and the confidence that he saw me, he gave me a chance, and I actually delivered the complete project for him.
And I guess you know, from your management perspective, you know, they must have been incredibly supportive of you stepping up and going and talking to the client to, you know, help quell their fears, I guess, and actually put forth how you could become, you know, be the lead and you know, take a successful project for them. So in order to do that, I mean, what was the support that you were getting from your own company at that point?
Yeah, so absolutely. I've had some incredible mentors. Uh, I've never had any women manager. It's been always male managers for me. But yes, all of them have been very supportive, and they have guided me a lot through this industry, how to handle different situations. At the same time, they have always respected me as an individual. They have trusted me on my knowledge, skills, my strengths. They've helped me like work better on my weaknesses and overcome them. And I think the relationship that we were able to have or create between us, a working relationship, that has really worked. There was a level of trust and confidence that I was able to create in them, with my determination, passion, and they have seen that I have never like hesitated from delivering anything hard or easy, whichever that was required to be done. If I was required to be in office till 12 o'clock at night, I have done that. I have, like, work has always been my priority, and I have given that. But at the same time, yes, they have been flexible enough for me as well. When I needed, they gave me their back. And I think that's what even like gave them the confidence that Shikha is no different than any other male colleague, any of our male colleagues. So why not? So they have always given me a full support that yes, you can go ahead, just go ahead and bash this.
And look, that's absolutely fantastic. And what I'm hearing from you, I mean, obviously you must be incredibly good at building relationships to ensure that you've got good support like that. It's a testament to your ability to build good relationships to have that kind of support. And I'm just curious about, those relationships were they built over time? Like you've talked here about, that you would put in the hours and you would put in the hard work to show that, or in a way prove that you can achieve it and that you can do it. But in terms of I guess maybe the personal relationships to be able to have that kind of support, what were some of the other ingredients there, do you think?
I think as a person as well, I'm like have a very friendly nature, and I'm always open to listen to others. I think that's one very important trait that not many people have. So apart from work also, if you spend some time with your colleagues, with your manager, listening to them, talking to them about their things around work, anything that they are feeling, facing any challenges. Maybe you don't have solutions every time, but people need that like listening dog, and I was there for them. I think that helped me along create that bond between my colleagues here.
Just wanted to go back and talk a little bit about, you mentioned earlier about the fact that you went and got yourself a driver, and you were essentially you were investing in yourself at quite a young age, and when it seemed like it was outside of your realm. In what other ways throughout your career have you invested in yourself in ways that might not be seen as kind of maybe the traditional thing to actually do? Like, is that a common theme through your career?
No, so it's that I won't say that it's a very common theme, because not only in this industry, Jessica, I think, but around the world in different fields, women always tend to take a step back to further other priorities. I don't want to say that it's wrong, but yeah, if you want to grow your career, if you are really serious about it, you want to pursue your dreams, I think you really need to create a support structure around you, and don't think that house children are only your responsibility. I'm really fortunate to have my husband who's been very, very supportive all around. He has been a driving force after my father when we got married. So uh, without him, I would not have been here in this position. We have always like managed our responsibilities equally. He has been there for me forever. Like right now as well, being a senior director, it's not easy to manage two kids. I have two daughters, and manage the house, schools, and your hectic work schedule. So we manage with each other very well. I have a full day job, and he has chosen a job which starts like later in the afternoon till the night. So yeah, we divide our responsibilities. He takes care of kids in the first half. I take care of kids in the evening, and that works perfectly well for them. So this is like just a very small one example that it's absolutely necessary that you have to share your responsibilities. If not like along with your partner directly, but create a support structure, invest in your helps. That's what is required to for a woman, especially to go ahead in a society where it is seen that as a woman you have the first responsibility to take care of your household and manage it well.
And do you think that this that this support that you've managed to put around yourself, do you think that's where your courage comes from, or is your courage a kind of innate drive from within yourself to overcome the obstacles, I guess, that get put in your path?
Personally, I would think that first you have to show that courage. First, it has to come from within, that yes, you have it and you want to go for it. And then others come up and support you. If you will take a back seat, if you would not give that challenge to yourself, I don't think others or people around you will give you that.
Oh, that is such a very potent and very beautiful point. So I just want to ask, have you got another one, or would you like to leave it there on that very beautiful takeaway? So is there any other takeaways that you'd like to leave us with today?
I think to my other females who are choosing a career right now, or who are thinking about taking up a work in the construction industry, it's a small message that maybe it's not that challenging right now. Over the years, the industry is developing, the perceptions are changing, organizations are taking many steps to improve that inclusivity and diversity. In our own organization, we are we would give a preference first to hire a female than a male, because we are working really hard to improve that situation. And I really don't want others to be in that place where for 5 years I didn't have a female to talk to at all in my office. So I would really want more women to actively enter into this industry, and want to give this message that they should not hesitate to call out for the basic requirements which they need and which they have right to, for creating a safe working space around them. I think I didn't have that courage about 15 years back to call out that for, but you should make an attempt and do ask for things which are needed for us.
And they can always reach out to women like yourself that are seniors in the industry, who've been there, done that, and been fighting the fight for the last, as you said, 15 years. So that they do also have that support to be able to look up to you and your cohort, essentially. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been a very, very interesting discussion and insight into the world of, for you in the construction industry in India, your journey, and some of the kind of key takeaways there. Definitely about investing in yourself, having the courage to stand up and not take a back seat, and, building that support network around you. I just think that they're really, really, important and poignant points. So thank you so much for the time today, and look forward to seeing you go to strength to strength.
Thank you, Jessica. I think one last statement: if you dream for something, believe in it and go for it.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Women Who Lead. Visit my website, jesscarr.com, to sign up for more podcasts and information on women who lead. If you found value in this show, please share it with your friends, and be sure to tune in for our next episode. I'm your host, Jess Carr. Bye for now.